I'm just going to be quick here, right? So if you don't know me, I'm Jason. You obviously know something about me on my page, or I've flashed up somewhere. But ultimately, this video that is about to be played now is brilliant because it's in East Anglia. It's on Anglian news, and those who know me, like Father's Rights campaigner or equal shared parenting campaigner, whatever you want to call it, parent alienation victim, whatever you want to call it, however you want to go, whatever you want to paint it as. And we've got some good stuff going on in Anglia. Well, not good stuff, it's bad stuff, but at least it's being reported on. I think the rest of the regions, I mean, I don't watch TV, so it might be on the rest of the regions, who knows? But East Anglia seem to think that they've got a limited problem in their area. Watch this video.
Next tonight, there are renewed calls to reform the family court system after claims that some parents are waiting up to 2 years for formal access rights to their children after a breakup. Some areas of our region are struggling with a heavy backlog of cases.
Some areas of the region, that's in East Anglia, are suffering with a backlog. That's not just East Anglia. This is a nationwide problem, and I'm just grateful it's being reported on in East Anglia. But this is what's happening, and I think someone said something in a minute. 2 years on average, 2 years. No.
The charity Families Need Fathers recently held an event for members of the House of Lords saying better mediation processes are needed for quicker and more amicable resolutions. Here's Nick Smith.
Now, I like Families Need Fathers. I think they're good at what they stand for. They actually broke away from the people who started that. Actually broke away from Fathers for Justice back in the day, years ago, many years ago. And it's good to see that they're doing the right thing, the good stuff. And they're saying that they need better mediation processes, right? You don't just need better mediation processes. You need to take solicitors out of family court. If you take solicitors out of family court and have mediators and counsellors in their place, you're going to get better results. If you want solicitors in there, fine, keep solicitors in there. If you reward the solicitors on fixing the problem, i.e. rather than the amount of time they're spending on each case, because they will instigate the problems to be worse. So if you reward solicitors in a different way, so if you reward solicitors on the case being resolved amicably, then you'd obviously get a different result then as well. But because solicitors are rewarded on conflict, or the longer the work, the more work they have to do, the more they get paid. So if the higher your conflict, the bigger your conflict, the more they're going to get rewarded. If it was roles reversed, they wouldn't be doing that. So that's another thing that needs to be changed as well. So that's a little bit too, I think Families Need Fathers need to be a little bit more tougher with that. And also it needs to be presumed, if the parties can't presume 50-50, and if they can't agree and work backwards, so for example, dad's working, he can't do 50-50. So he wants every other weekend, whatever. Yeah, he's not too bothered about that, as long as he has some part of his kids' lives. If that's agreed between the parties, great. If the dad can do 50-50 and it's not given, then the children should go straight into foster care. Straight in. Yeah, and people, Kafka say that's a bit too strict, but whatever. But I think it needs to be strict, because if you want to put your kids into foster care, then you've got serious issues. Serious issues.
The breakdown of a relationship can be a hugely stressful experience, but the process can be much more complicated when children are involved. Family courts can determine access rights for either parent. But in the wait for a hearing, the primary carer often holds the power and control of when and where their ex-partner can see their children.
How diplomatic was that? How diplomatic was that? Didn't say anything about gender. Didn't say normally it's the mums. Didn't say anything about gender, did they? How diplomatic was that? What he meant to say was that when the families break down, what normally happens is the mum will take the children because she's presumed to be the safer parent, and the dad is left on the street, homeless, false allegations, exaggerated allegations. Not always false allegations, not always exaggerated allegations, but from what I deal with, from my own personal experience, exaggerated fucking by far, and bullshit stories as well. So I know it's happened to me. So I know this has happened to me. So I would not put it past, and I do not, and that's why I believe the people that I work for, because they have stories made up about them too. But the thing is, these stories can be ludicrous. But ultimately, they're believed, or they're not believed, but they're presumed to be true. And just in case they're true, we need to keep the dad away from. We need to keep the dad away from them, just because of the allegation, just in case it happens. That's what he meant to say there. That's what he meant to say. Presumed with, yeah. Next.
Andrew Feller volunteers for the charity Both Parents Matter in Ipswich and says delays in getting an initial court hearing are causing a huge amount of distress.
The backlog in this area is the worst outside of London.
Now, this is funny. This is the stereotypical. This is just funny as hell, right? Because he's now look at what he's got there. He's got he's highlighting. It looks like it's very important because he's highlighting like a family tree or something like that, or a thought diagram. But there's nothing that you wouldn't use. What the fuck is that? What is it? I mean, I'm not being funny. That's just the problem with the family law people. They're just so fucking. They think that there's. Oh. But then what he does is this epic fail, this massive fail. He says that his region is the worst backlog outside of London. Someone's shooting him. Yeah, someone's shooting him. It's fireworks. Yeah. But ultimately, this is what I'm saying. So he believes. Where did he get this knowledge from? Where did he get that from? What did he put together everything? He gets the stats from the Office of National Statistics? I don't think so. I've checked. Where did you get that stat from? That's a made-up stat. Surely it's made up. Come on now. Totally made up stat. But there is a backlog. That much is true. Whether it's the biggest in the country, I don't think so.
Parents making an application to the courts are finding that the first time they're getting a proper hearing is 5 to 6 months, when it should be 5 to 6 weeks. You're not having full contact with your own children. And in most cases, we're talking preschool, primary children who are not able to have a full relationship with both parents.
He's got a point here. He has got a point, yeah? For myself personally, Lila was free, like nursery, like just year 1, year 2, was it? Year 3, maybe at school. Like, it's that age group. Why is that? Why do people separate at that? It must be because, like, same reasons, but they just didn't know each other in the first place. But there's so many of them. Same stuff. I'm sure Mumsnet. I think Mumsnet is what it is. I think Mumsnet was. They've got a fucking sheet on there, and they've got the blueprint of how to fuck up your ex-husband, or how to fuck up your husband, soon to be ex-husband. And you follow these steps, you're gonna get creme de la creme every time. And I will say this, yeah. I think for me, backlog or not, you could get a case concluded, finished, done within about a month, 3 months maximum. That's what you need to do. You need to turn this whole fucking thing back on its head. If you're going to go to court, like you do with criminal stuff, you get it done in a day, you get it done in like a week or whatever. There's no build up to that, there's no preamble to it. You're going to go to court, that's it, done. You build your case and go for it. And that way you can minimize the impact on the kids. You can try, and if there's no criminal conviction, then it didn't happen. You can't then treat someone like they're a criminal based on false allegations or exaggerated allegations. And I get it. Abuse is abuse, yeah? So I don't care whether it's physical or emotional or psychological, it's all the same. Yeah, if it's making someone feel awful, is as bad as making someone, like mentally, is as bad as making someone feel awful physically. Fucking hate fireworks. But ultimately, it's not even fireworks night. It's not even fireworks night. Why do people need that still? It's like, you've had your fireworks night. It's not even fucking New Year's Eve. Why do you need that? Why? For what round? For what reason? I don't understand it. I don't understand myself.
John Denby spent years having restricted contact with his own children after separation from his wife. His son and daughter were under 10 at the time. He says without a firm plan in place for access in the initial stages of a family breakup, reliance on the courts can have a devastating effect on the parent who isn't the primary carer.
Heartbreaking is the immediate word that comes to mind, because I was a very hands-on, committed father. Suddenly they're gone from my life. You would be walking down the road and you might see a father taking his children to school, and it really hurt.
Again, I think he's playing that down a little bit. Just a little bit there. Just playing it down a little bit. Hurts. You don't know. And I'll tell you this now, because the women that I've worked for and spoken to and seen and experienced, when they don't have their kids, and I'll tell you now, with the men, we feel hurt, we feel pain, we feel like something's missing, yeah? Uncontrollable urge to fucking just break everything and just be part, it's unbelievable. So I think he's playing it down slightly, but don't get me wrong. I know that I would hate to be a woman and have the child taken away from me too, because at the same point, as I say, we want equal parenting, and this is where the women can't, this is why they can't do it. This is one of the main reasons why they can't do it. They can't do it. They can't. You take a child away from them. How would the mum cope? The mum wouldn't cope, and I've seen them not cope. I've seen them break. Yet men, we're the ones we get criticised if we self-medicate. Yeah, you take a child away. You take a child away from the woman. I have seen the devastating impact it has on the women. Most of them go loopy. Seriously loopy, because they've carried the child. So imagine how we feel as dads. Women, mums, yeah. And that's another reason why I think, they just stopped that fireworks a minute ago. And they just had a big old thing and now they're doing them again. I think, so yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt. I mean, that's why we're in the situation is because even an equal shared care, they can't, women, whether it's the control or whether it's the how it feels because they're missing the child, one of the two. In some cases, I'm sure it's control. In other cases, it's because I'm sure that they love their child and it's part of them.
You could no longer be a father to them. We would like to see a less adversarial system because we think that generates conflict. The delays in the system are very damaging and that's contrary to a child's best interests.
Again, I just don't think they're giving it enough justice there. Like, delays in the system and a less adversarial, whatever word he used, less adversarial or more, basically the way it's run, basically the same. The solicitors there are causing conflict. They're causing conflict and they're instigating stuff. And not just the solicitors, professionals too. Professionals are as well. That's factual. And for me, if everyone was just getting rewarded on resolution and solution, the world going to be a much nicer place. Like, I'm not being funny. You need skilled professionals, people who are trained psychologists, people who have experienced this. It's like you don't know what you're looking for unless you've experienced it, unless you know what you're looking for. And you need people like me, people like who have experienced it in those roles, making peace, creating peace, making sure that you're looking out for the covert narcissism. Because it's there, and if it's not covert narcissism, it's BPD or something else. Whatever it is, it means you're basically being not a very nice person, and that needs help with. You've got not nice people, and look, people need to be able to spot false allegations because you've got not nice people, really not nice people, bringing up children, and got the children based on lies and probable reasons being true because they get to sit behind a solicitor or a barrister. And they're not representing themselves, so they've got their kids, so they feel complete. They've not lost nothing. Men won't qualify for legal aid. So you're representing yourself. If you get the wrong advice, like I got the wrong advice, you're going to be fucked because you're going to be going into court doing the wrong stuff. You're not showing people respect. You're not doing the things that I'd say to do, and that's why we get positive results. Don't get me wrong, there's things that go wrong, but that's because people have done things wrong. If you go into court and you own your shit, right? Yeah, you're going to get in trouble. You're not going to get a pat on the back. You're not getting a chocolate biscuit if you've done something wrong. But you're going to get a much more. You're going to be seen as much more credible. That's for sure. And ultimately, you're a human fucking being. You're not going to get put. You made a mistake. Yeah, you made a mistake. And that's everyone's shit stinks as far as I'm concerned. Same as the people who do fireworks. Yeah, when it's not fireworks night, they're in their world that's normal. That's fine. Do that. In my world, I think it's a bit odd. But that's each to their own. Let everyone celebrate this stuff. Just try and do it. Not with fireworks, but you can't help it. Can you? Each to their own. But what was I saying? You need to less conflict. Spot the bullshit. Yeah. Stop the bullshit. Stop the lies. Stop the exaggerations. Stop them because you can't. Because these people who do them, they're buying time. All they're doing is they're buying time. They know what they can do. They know what they get away with. Say the worst thing. You're not going to. Now with the new CAFCAS regulations, you say the worst thing, you're guaranteed. Children are guaranteed not to see the dad, at least for 18 months. At least 18 months in between court hearings and that sort of shit until it's proven that they're safe. And I mean proven. It's ridiculous.
Some countries like Sweden have a presumption of shared parenting and try and facilitate equal access from the point of separation. But family law experts like Lucy Reid,
what have you got to say for yourself? I bet it's something positive.
Say there are important factors to consider which do often need the presence of a judge.
It's to ensure that the welfare of children is properly identified and prioritised.
Notice they didn't call her. Notice what they didn't there. Now this I think I've not done the research yet. I don't know for sure, but just putting this out there. They said professional. Didn't say solicitor, didn't say barrister, didn't say anything like that of any hierarchical or what we'd call it, deem it as a family law solicitor. Someone that's a professional. So this is a common thing. So in East Anglia, look, these are professionals. These are people like me. Now I'm not. This is obviously someone who's gone knocking on the door of East Anglia stuff and said these are very corporate, nice, typical fuddy-duddy. I don't know these people, but they're very, very samey, aren't they? Look, but this Lucy Reed here now, what she's got to say for herself. Judges need time to make sure that the allegations are not true. I bet she is a family law professional, because she's a professional. She's going to defend. She's going to defend what she's going to defend. It's going to blow your mind. But it wouldn't surprise me if she has gone through the court system, she is one of these women that has made up one of these exaggerated allegations and prevented the father from seeing the children. And this is how they justify it to themselves and to the wider audience. I bet you she stops. I bet you I'm not done the research, but I'm just stereotyping. I'm just putting it out there because of what she has to say.
And that includes their safety. Sometimes parents don't agree about whether the other parent is a safe and able parent. So there are some cases where it's absolutely right for the court to say, no, contact should be restricted. But there are also a large number of cases where contact can and should be promoted, and it is promoted, and orders are made by the family court.
To watch that again, I might just have to watch that bit again. And it is promoted. Did you hear what she said at the festival? Did you hear what she said at the festival? There are times when it's necessary. There are times. And then she says, and it's promoted equally. It is promoted. Oh yes, and the court orders make the court orders, and they make them, and it is promoted. I promise you, it's promoted. I promise you, it is. For every single case in the whole of England and Wales, it's always promoted, always, and the courts are always like, yeah, of course, yeah, of course. This woman.
The Ministry of Justice says the backlog in the family courts is reducing but remains too high, so they are promoting methods like mediation to settle child access and visitation. A move welcomed by advocates for a system where separated parents can properly share involvement in their children's lives. Nick Smith, ITV News.
Thanks, Nick. Welcome back to the studio. Now, I think that's a bit mild, yeah? So I think what we need to recognise here is they're making calls for this thing. They've been making calls for this thing to do this for years. It's not a new thing. And they've not done anything. And they won't do anything because it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. They don't. If they know, the system knows children benefit from having both mum and dad in their lives. They don't do anything to stop the exaggerated allegations. They don't do anything to stop the lies. They don't even once, and the courts are really good at getting to the bottom of it and digging out the shit. They're really good at that, yeah? I credit the judges. I think they're brilliant. I think some of them are really, really good. And I credit them. I think it's brilliant. But ultimately, they shouldn't have to be in that position in the first place. They shouldn't be having to figure out figure out all this bullshit. Because that's what they have to do. The amount of times I get to these cases and there's all these allegations that we've stopped contact, all this other shit for fucking 18 months, 2 years, 4 years. The kid's not seeing the dad for this amount of time. And they're saying this is in the child's best interest, right? The damage is getting done to the children through the mums, through the residing parent. Not always, the majority of the time it's the mum. Majority of the time it's the mum. And don't anyone tell me that I've not seen on someone was doing the other day, there's more women are losing their children. Fuck off, are they women losing their children? They're losing their children after the court cases because they're not looking after the children initially. Yeah, they take for granted the position they got. They take that for granted, taking it away from a dad who our biggest thing, our biggest asset is education. They know what happens to kids when the dads aren't around. Yet they do nothing to stop it from happening. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So look, change, will it happen? No. Do we expect any change? No. But it's nice to get it on TV though, wasn't it? With these really exciting and excitable family law professionals, because I'm nothing like that. I tell you what, if that's what you've got to walk in the court with you, I mean, I'm not being funny. I know I'm not the most charismatic of people and I speak quite fast and whatnot, but at least I've got like a little bit of personality about me. I'm not being funny. I'm here to not... these people wouldn't know how to support you emotionally because they've got no emotions. I don't know. But anyway, if you need help with your family court stuff and you want a positive outcome, because that's what we find is positivity. Positivity always brings positivity, yeah? And I guarantee you, even if it's not at the first junction, I won't stop working for you, in some cases for free, until I get you contact with your children, because that's how committed I am to making sure that every child has mum and dad in its life. Yeah, and even when I've got clients who've got the children in their care, we are actively making sure the children are having decent contact. When we go to court, we're suggesting, this is what we do. My ex-wife would never do this to me, but very few women would do this for their ex-partners. We're making sure that when we're suggesting the contact arrangements, we're giving them much more than what we'd even be offered or what we'd get And it's given because we're doing it like that. Until next time, peace and love. Lila's glove.